Self-service TV tube tester.
What
Testing
is
the
that?
TV tube.
This just looks like one of those whack-a-mole kind of things. You just whack-a-mole. Look at those haircuts.
The beehive hairstyle was popular with women in the 60s.
That's what it's called.
The conical...
No, it does look like a beehive. It does. It seems so like inconvenient as well, like and very high maintenance.
Bounce of the rubber ball. You would try to collect onesies or twosies, and so on.
What? 6 metal pieces on the floor. You bounce and to get a onesies or a two. What? If you grew up in the 60s, you will remember this part 2. Now, for those of you guys that have been keeping up with the channel, you'll know that I've checked out part 1. It was great insight into kind of what was going on in the 60s, some norms. It's crazy to think, like, when I look back at these times, it generally does feel like I'm going back into a different world, being a Gen Zer, born in the 2000s. And I've been really enjoying discovering just what life was like. If you guys love these kinds of videos, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, as well as turn on the notification so you don't miss none of these bangers, and like the video as well, so I know you guys want to see more, and let me know what other bits you guys would like me to check out. But look guys, with that being said, let's get straight into the video. Let's go.
The 1960s is full of so many memories that mean so much to so many. I decided to put together another collection of things you might remember from the 1960s. This time, however, I used the comments of the last video to create the list.
That's gotta be
so if you grew up in the 60s, you will remember many of these things provided by you, the viewers.
Alright, let's see, man.
Bomb shelters, along with duck and cover drills, were pretty standard in the early 60s.
You're joking.
President Kennedy even suggested building a shelter in case of a nuclear exchange with the Soviet Union.
Oh wow, wow! Oh, that is, you know, this Cold War stuff going on in the 60s, and even went into like the 80s. I swear, I can't remember the exact timeline, but I know people were concerned about this stuff for a while now. I've only knew about it through history lessons. But I didn't realize just how much it really had a hold on what was going on at the time. And you're telling me bunkers were like regular and going through drills and stuff like that. Like that's different. Yeah, that's before my time.
The Twilight Zone, hosted by Rod Serling, was a must-watch for any kid. The other sci-fi show that had kids hooked was The Outer Limits, which started out each show by saying, "There is nothing wrong with your television set."
What kind of image? Those look scary, like aliens.
The nightly news of the late 60s was for many a constant reminder of what was going on in Vietnam. Walter Cronkite in particular was a central figure in shaping public opinion about the war.
Walter what's his name? Walter something. But yeah, that's... Let me hear his name again. Hold on.
Walter Cronkite, in particular, was a central figure in shaping public opinion about the war.
Okay, and another thing, the Vietnam War going on around these times. Yeah, these were some different... Wow, I mean, the maddest thing I can think of is the C word. Because YouTube's a bit funny when you say that word. But yeah, that's the maddest thing I can think about experiencing, having to do lockdown. Mate. Just different times, man.
The toys from this period were classic, and kids across the country absolutely loved trying to knock the heads off of the Rock'em Sock'em robots.
I've seen that.
Another popular toy was Major Matt Mason, an action figure from Mattel that you could bend, but the wire frames would often break at the knee or elbow over time.
Oh wow. Fast. Yeah, and all this space stuff as well, the race to space.
Whammo Super Balls were another novelty toy that kids loved to bounce as high as possible. But then the race was on to chase after it.
Okay, you go chase after, okay.
Go-go boots were trendy footwear for young women during the mid-60s. These knee-high boots were usually shiny white patent leather that made you look like a Bond girl.
A Bond, yeah, it's giving like, is it right to say Charlie's Angels as well? Or am I tripping? Or maybe I'm getting the timelines mixed up. Correct me if I'm wrong, please. But these boots, I think I came across a song in most popular songs in the 60s each month. And there was that Nancy Sinatra song with the Boots song. These boots are made for walking, whatever the title was. And was she wearing these boots? If so, let me know, because these look familiar. And they kind of look cool, you know. You wouldn't see people wearing those today like that,
you look
though.
like a Bond girl.
Loki, I think we should bring boots back like this, man.
The first television show you may have ever watched in color was the animated series The Jetsons on ABC.
Jetsons.
The show lasted for just 24 episodes, but it made kids wonder about what the future would hold.
That's not that long, you know, 24 episodes. What, and it was set in the future? Interesting.
Who remembers Boys Life magazine? This official scouting magazine was a must-read, and it seemed like every boy growing up in the 60s had a subscription.
Boy Scouts. That's got to be a US thing. I don't know about Boy Scouts in the UK. And yeah, that's just different. I don't think we do that. I could be wrong.
If you wanted to play cops and robbers, or maybe even cowboys and Indians, there is no doubt you were packing a realistic-looking cap gun revolver. These toy guns would pop and even smoke when fired.
They look so
adding
real,
realism
man.
to any outdoor gunfight.
I might even have to blur that because of YouTube's guidelines, but this is mad. So far, from when I go back to the 60s, like so far, this is the videos I've been checking out. The things that come to my head that I've recently discovered are Western themed movies. Like John Wayne is another name that comes up that I hear, but I think maybe that's also 70s. I could be wrong. 60s, 70s. I don't know. Sometimes I get the timelines mixed up. I think about the space stuff, astronauts, and I think about like Cold War stuff. So far is like the main, and maybe like I'll probably throw in hippie movement, late 60s to 70s. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm learning as I go in many ways through these videos, but it's been interesting to see, man. Like most of this stuff is so new to me.
Star Trek was another series that made us wonder not only about space travel, but also life on other planets. The show was also one of the first to feature a racially diverse cast, which was groundbreaking at the time.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I know about Star Trek. That started in the 60s. Wow, okay. That's a throwback.
Who didn't love stopping for a meal while traveling the highways of America? And there was no better place than the orange roof of a Howard Johnson's.
What is that?
Not only did they have 28 flavors of ice cream, but they served the best fried clams around.
Okay, best fried clams. Look at that picture, man. Yeah, and let me know if any of you guys have been there, man. That's interesting. And back then, you couldn't even have phones to drive with you. And I'm sure you probably wouldn't have had seatbelts in there. From what I've seen as well, a lot of you guys would have been in the back of the station wagon. You know what I'm saying? And just bouncing around. That's still, to imagine that is still scary to me though. I'm just thinking if you're going fast and then a sudden stop, that's gotta be like, let me know if you guys have had any experiences where you've had some mad crash. Not crash, but like maybe your parent has came to a stop and you just gone flying. And was it painful? Was it scary? I don't know. You guys are built different, man, in the 60s.
The 1960s Batman television show was a favorite for fans of the Caped Crusader. The comic book style of graphics that were added to fight scenes, along with the cliffhanger endings, made Batman fun to watch.
Oh, okay. They had a comic book style fighting scenes in the 60s. Wow. Shout out to Batman. Is that Catwoman as well? Disney.
Walt Disney's Wonderful World of Color was a popular family program that aired on Sunday evenings.
Okay, Sunday evenings.
The NBC show was hosted by Disney himself and featured wholesome movies that were broadcast in color.
That's cool. Wow, this must have been like new. I know about Disney now, it's way more.
On weekends, you may have tagged along with Dad to a convenience store or drugstore to use the self-service TV tube tester.
Sorry, what did he say? On the what? On the way to the...
On weekends, you may have tagged along with Dad to a convenience store or drugstore to use the self-service TV tube tester. Testing the TV tubes always felt important and was an exciting excursion that gave you an excuse to watch more TV.
TV tube tester? What? That looks complicated. What? Wait. What? Buy name brand tubes for radio, TV. What? Sorry, that's a TV. Is this a TV? This just looks like one of those whack-a-mole kind of things. You just whack a mole that pops up out of a hole. That's what this looks like to me. Hold up. What?
Or drugstore.
That's
On
wait, is that a
weekends,
radio?
you may have tagged along with Dad to a convenience store or drugstore to use
Buy
the
tubes.
self-service TV tube tester. Testing the TV tubes always felt important and was
So-
an exciting excursion that gave you an excuse to watch
testing.
more TV.
Testing the TV. So you had a tube that you could use to test the TV. So you guys go. I know. Someone please explain that one to me. What that looks. Never heard of that in my life. Don't even know how that works. Just what?
Surfer music took the decade by storm, first
Surfer
by
music.
guitarist Dick Dale, and later with the California sound created by the Beach Boys and Jan and Dean.
I've heard of the Beach Boys. I haven't heard any of their songs though. Okay. Look at those
The
haircuts.
beehive hairstyle was popular with women in the 60s.
That's what it's called.
The conical updo was made even more iconic by celebrities of the day.
Oh wow, it does look like a beehive. It does. That must have been so complicated. I can't imagine the stress that would have gone into that. And this is where I can see. I remember seeing like pictures with girls with these like rolly things in their hair that make their hair curly like that. Especially when I tap into like 50s/60s things, and it makes sense if you're gonna go for hairstyles like that, because what is that? It's the beehive haircut. And I see this hairstyle a lot as well. That looks like a waterfall on both sides. And it's just, wow. 60s hairstyles especially are so interesting.
Popular with women in the 60s.
Like how that
the
became
conical
a thing.
updo was made even more iconic by celebrities of the day.
It seems so like inconvenient as well. Like and very high maintenance. Yeah, man. Let me know.
You couldn't go
what that was
anywhere
like.
in the 1960s without running into a huge ashtray littered with smoked cigarettes.
Oh yeah.
Seemingly every adult smoked during this decade, and the ashtray was essential in every room of the
Man,
house.
smoking. My asthma would not survive in the 60s, man. That's just smoking everywhere.
Who didn't love cooking up some Jiffy Pop popcorn? The self-popping pan was as entertaining to watch as it was to eat.
I think I've seen these in movies, but I've never actually experienced that. Looks fun.
The game of jacks had been played for centuries, but in the 1960s it became even more popular. The 6-pointed metal pieces would be scattered on the ground,
Metal
and with the
pieces.
bounce of the rubber ball, you would try to collect onesies or twosies, and
Onesies
so
or-
on.
What? I feel like that was just like that description sounds 6 metal pieces on the floor. You bounce and to get a onesies or a two. What?
The 6-pointed metal pieces would be scattered on the ground, and with the bounce of the rubber ball, you would try to collect onesies or twosies, and so on.
What does the collect onesies or twosies even mean? Like you collected what? Again, please explain. What?
Creepy
Okay.
crawlers was a fun activity to make your own rubberized insects. Not only did you get to pour goop into molds, but it
Pour
came
goop
with a
into-
cool mini oven that heated to
Oh, I've heard of
350
this.
degrees for curing the creepy crawlers.
Yeah, no way would you get a toy that kids can use that will let you heat things up to 350 degrees. Like that is such a hazard.
Crawlers.
Like 300 and you could actually melt the plastic like.
The Andy Griffith Show was standard viewing in many households. Not only was it funny, but it had a wholesome quality that felt like a time gone by. The colorful cast of characters made the show a favorite for many and would lead to many spin-offs.
I've never seen this show, I've never heard of it. Maybe one of these days I'll check it out if you guys want to see it.
To finish out the list, collecting bottles was an easy way to make a little bit of spending money for a kid.
What?
So it wasn't unusual to
How?
see a radio flyer wagon dragging behind with the sounds of clanging glass, going from door to door.
Collecting bottles? Oh, okay. So
If you enjoyed this video, check out
Interesting.
the description for links that help support.
and that's back when bottles were like fizzy drinks you could get in glass bottles. Like a Coca-Cola as well, man, especially back then was so dominant. Like I don't see any of the newer like other like fizzy drink brands like a Fanta or Diet Coke, or you guys name like 7 Up, all of them types of things. But yeah, man, the 60s, I'm slowly starting to like fill in the picture of the 60s. An interesting time, especially in terms of like societal norms, the hairstyle, the fashion, music. But I've been loving diving into these times and just seeing what it was like, checking those things out. Again, it's literally like going into a whole different world for me. And I'd love to know how this one resonated with you guys watching at home. If you made this point, comment down a yellow heart so I know who my real ones are, who made this point, or hashtag Flexer for those of you guys watching this who still struggle with those emojis. We don't discriminate. You guys know how it goes. And of course, look, if you want to see more of these types of videos, as always, I got a playlist link at the end of the video that you can check out. And of course, don't forget to like the video before you're done out. But guys, with that being said, I'm going to watch JayFlex, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.